Steven, you think Rocco will enjoy the Texas heat?
No, I'm worried for him, to be honest.
Yeah, French bulldog in the hot sun is not great.
Well, he's an English bulldog.
Sorry, English bulldog. My apologies to Rocco.
And apologies to England and all of the English bulldogs everywhere
Sorry
for mixing up one of those little French mutts with an English bulldog.
What's going on, everybody? Just your opinion, man. We are back on because 24 hours ago we were doing a NBA free agency show awaiting Klay Thompson's decision, and nothing happened yesterday. Some things happened here or there, but it was mainly after we were done. And we got the news last night. Paul George signs a max deal, 4 years, $212 to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. And then around 11 or noon today, we got the news Klay Thompson is going to the Dallas Mavericks. 3 years, 50 million. And all I can say is, and I tweeted this too, thank God it wasn't the Lakers, because it sounds like it was down to the Lakers and Mavericks. The Magic, I guess, he never took a meeting with, and that was the one that was the most talking, the most traction, I guess, in the offseason. I guess during even the playing season, there was rumors about that. I think Klay made the right decision in the end. But, yeah, just a reaction to Klay Thompson moving on from the Warriors officially and going to the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, to be honest, I don't think it's going to work out. But what I will say is I think Klay will go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. But how I'm going to remember the end of his time with the Warriors was the last season when he couldn't come to grips with the decline, the inevitable decline that every player goes through, and the fact that he's not a max player like, say, Paul George still is apparently at 34 years old. And this saga with the Warriors where he rejected a deal for more money, thinking that he could win a championship elsewhere, or for less money, rejected a deal for less money. I'm not feeling great about this, although I obviously I have immense respect for everything that he's done and was going down the rabbit hole earlier today, and just all the great moments that he's had. I'm telling you, I know that we always pay attention to the 30 points or 37 points in a quarter back on January 25th, 2015, or January 23rd of 2015 against the Kings, where he ended up scoring, I think, 50 in that game. But the 60 points on 11 dribbles. One time, I think he scored 43 on 4 dribbles, if I'm not mistaken. The extreme efficiency with which he would shoot the basketball. I'm just going to reiterate what I said yesterday. And now that this news has passed, in our lifetimes, I don't think we're going to see anything like this. Just with this time, with this combination of people, with this decade, we're not going to see anything like this again. And to have that come to an end, it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of the same feeling as Klay, having a tough time coming to grips with it.
Yeah. Well, you said that you don't think it's going to work out. Why do you think that?
Yeah. Well, Klay is, what was his biggest issue last year? It was not staying patient, right? It was trying to create a little too much for himself. And I think the Mavericks, I know Jason Kidd maybe can work something out, but the Mavericks with a guy like Luka or a guy like Kyrie, who are so ball dominant, I could see Klay getting very frustrated in Dallas quickly. Just maybe being open in the corner, and it's not that they don't want to pass to him. They're just not used to having an open player like that who they could pass to. And I just don't know how well it's going to work out, especially with their pace of play.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. I'm not going to say it's not going to work out. And I mean, they're getting a bargain, $16 million per year for Klay. That's a bargain.
Well, that's surprising to me because the Warriors' offer of 2 for $48 was $24 million a year.
Right.
And he's taking 16 million a year, and we were, Anthony Slater said that he may even take a lesser deal just to get back at the Warriors. And to me, this makes sense basketball wise. Out of the places that he was meeting with, I'm so glad he didn't go to the Lakers, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But I think when you really think about it, yes, Klay Thompson is comfortable in himself to know that he is not the main star of a team. And I've always appreciated that in him. He's never been where, he thought like he was Kyrie Irving, where he had to tell the world after he got traded to the Celtics, where he was like, I can lead my own team. And then he realized he couldn't. Klay doesn't want to be that guy, and that's okay. He's very comfortable. He was comfortable for 13 years being Steph Curry's sidekick. And now he's okay being Luka's sidekick. Because I think, out of the options he had in front of him, Luka's the youngest guy. Luka probably has the most potential. Didn't want to wait around to see, let me sign a contract with the Lakers and see what happens with LeBron, So I think this does make sense. I would hope that the Mavericks develop more of a, triangle offense, moving the ball around instead of just their ball dominant. All right, Luka, you go get a shot. Okay, now Kyrie, you go get a shot. I do think that, yes, this made the most sense basketball wise, and no state income tax for Klay. So good for him.
Out of the 4 teams that were rumored, obviously the Mavs were one of them. And before they signed Paul George, the Sixers were one of them. Then it was down to the Clippers or the Lakers. Yeah. If I had to power rank them in order, it would have been Sixers 1 before Paul George got signed.
Yeah.
Sixers 1, then Mavs 2, Lakers 3, and then Clippers 4. That's kind of how I would have ranked it in terms of the best fit. I mean, I know Joel Embiid's a ball dominant guy, but when you got a player like Tyrese Maxey, who also just signed a max contract, can you imagine how disappointing that would have been if he didn't sign a max contract with that last name?
That would be embarrassing for him.
He was born to sign a max contract. Next thing you know, we're going to have someone whose last name is Apron, and we're talking about whether they stay under the second apron.
Well, speaking of his name, he should be having a bunch of endorsements.
Right.
Max, the streaming app, Maxi Pads.
First one I'm in on, not the second one. Not the second one.
Joe Namath did endorsements for pantyhose for women. Just saying.
God, times have changed.
Yeah.
For pantyhose.
Hey, I don't wear pantyhose, but if my legs look as good in these, like he was wearing fucking pantyhose in the commercials. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole.
Oh, jeez. Or Pepsi Max.
True.
So I'm not saying that it's going to be an abject failure. I'm not saying that it's just it won't work. I'm not saying that's a fact, but I am skeptical as to how it will work next season. And in the Western Conference, it's going to be loaded. The Denver Nuggets are going to want redemption. The Oklahoma City Thunder are only going to get better. At least, I mean, they should. Conventional wisdom has them only getting better. Maybe they won't.
Big signing with who was it? Hartenstein.
Hartenstein, yeah,
Hartenstein.
Yeah. I mean, he made
an old Jewish boy, Hartenstein.
Maybe an old, maybe a little expensive. You're paying what, $30 million per year for that player, but he could still bring you something. So
yeah.
I don't know if I put the Mavs like at the top of the Western Conference. I don't know if I do that, but you know what?
Nah.
If Klay feels like this is his best place for happiness and his well-being, I was listening to that audio after the Kings game, and he's talking about his priorities. And number 1 was winning, but number 2, he just wants to close out his career somewhere where he thinks he'd be happy. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see the juxtaposition of a guy like Luka and a guy like Klay. Because one thing I want Klay to be remembered for: never complained to the refs. Like maybe he complained about his playing time and had bad body language this last year. But he never complained to the refs unless he felt like it was warranted. Whereas you got Luka Doncic, who gets touched on the shoulder and falls over, then feels like he should get a foul. I think he's a big soccer fan, so it makes sense. It's going to be interesting seeing that too. I think you're going to see Klay. I'm already calling it now. You're going to see a Klay eye roll at least 3 or 4 times this year. It's going to go viral.
From Luka?
when Luka falls down, he does something stupid, complains to the refs when he shouldn't be. Clay's going to give him an eye roll, or who knows? Maybe Clay feels like he has a new role on this team, and maybe he'll chew him out. Maybe he'll get in his ear and be like, "Hey, come on, man! Like just play basketball."
He might be that guy. Like Clay might be the guy to be like, all right, Lucas, stop your bitching, okay? And nope, we lost Steven. Okay. Well, yeah, I think Luca might be, or Clay might be the guy to kind of, mellow out Luca a little bit. And you all right?
I'm all good. I readjusted myself in my seat, and my laptop fell over and closed on the ground.
Hey, sometimes you got to readjust yourself. Sometimes the public too, and people look at you weird. Anyway, yeah, I was just saying, Steven, that I think that Clay will be the guy to kind of mellow out Luca. Maybe, or maybe he just doesn't give a shit. And he just kind of is like, all right, if Luca's going to be that guy, then I'll be the chill stoner dude that doesn't really give a shit. I just can't wait for, like, if Kyrie starts pulling his shit again, where he's like, talking about God knows what, or whatever theories he has, and Clay's like, what, dude? I'm just here to play basketball, man. I'm just here to play with my dog. Like you're talking to me about what? Like no thanks.
I didn't really think of this this idea before, but really, like, looking back on the finals and just listening to Kyrie talk, and the way that he was addressing the media, and the leadership role that he felt like he played for the younger guys. Like, if I was a player from 23 to 28 years old and I'm listening to a guy talk like that, I'm like, dude, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. I know you won a championship and you've been here before, but come on, man. We're all a team. You're no better than we are.
Yeah, I think the only guy that Clay may have a good time relating with on the team is probably Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's a Bay Area guy. He's laid back. I could see Clay like maybe, I'm not saying basketball wise it doesn't make sense, but personality wise, I could see him being like, God, who are these head cases?
Right.
And then yes, he did deal with Draymond a lot, but Draymond and him were boys, and Steph and him were boys. Marcus Thompson brought this up today when he was on the morning show, and he was like, Clay leaving is basically, telling Steph and Draymond, I don't want to finish my career with you. Like, in some ways, it's kind of telling them, like, after all we've been through, I don't care. I want to look out for myself. And I get that, but also maybe Clay, and no one's brought this up, maybe Clay thinks that he can't win with this team anymore. Maybe he was the only one that saw the writing on the wall. Maybe Draymond knew that this is the best spot for me with my style of basketball. My style doesn't translate to anybody else in the NBA, so it's best for me to stay with the Warriors. For Clay, maybe he saw that this team is not that good anymore, and then maybe he just wanted to go win championships, and the Mavericks just were in the NBA Finals. So maybe it does make sense like that.
He also saw his counterpart punch one of the younger players in the face and knock him flat out cold, and then he got rewarded for it with a $25 million a year contract, and they didn't even give him that. So I think I don't disagree. I think there's a lot of factors that played into it, but I think what you're talking about is certainly one of them for sure. Yeah. Do you think about this? Like, I know we're looking a lot at Mike Dunleavy. Saw Mr. Fab blaming Mike Dunleavy.
I saw that. Come on, Fab.
Are we gonna admit we all love him? We all love him, but we got to admit that Bob Myers left a little mess in the house. He had a party, and had a rager in this Warriors house, and he cleaned up a little bit of it, but he didn't clean up the whole mess.
No.
And Mike Dunleavy's coming in. He's got to bring in the industrial strength vacuum cleaner. He's got to bring a whole bunch of trash bags. He's got to
spackle.
He's got to spackle. He's got to spackle these holes in the wall left by Draymond's fist.
By the way, just side note, I tried mounting my TV here in my new place. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to spackle a shit ton.
Oh, it didn't go well, huh?
Did not go well. Still not mounted. The nails I used not strong enough. I'm gonna have to go out and get some lug screws and try it all over again. Yeah.
Hey, look, already too. Thinking on the bright side. At least we got a 2031 second round draft pick.
Yeah, dude. Okay. This is why the NBA is so weird, and I will get to Mike Dunleavy in a little bit here. The NBA is so weird where sign and trades are a thing. So you know, the Warriors were looking for some compensation for Klay Thompson leaving. And I didn't expect much. So in return, they got a 2025 second round pick and a 2031 second round pick. Great.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't get that.
At least the Warriors got something. But if I was the Mavericks, I'd be like, well, you know, do we have to give you anything? This is free agency, man. We signed your player. We don't have to give you jack shit.
Right.
Now, maybe Klay Thompson's doing it out of the kindness of his heart. I know Kevin Durant, that was a sign and trade. He went to the Brooklyn Nets, and we got D'Angelo Russell in return. By the way,
well, sign and trades are mutually beneficial, aren't they? Aren't they? So, like, maybe
how
they
is it beneficial for the Mavericks today to lose their draft picks?
Well, they lose their draft picks, but isn't the case with sign and trades? Like the original team gives them a deal that would potentially be cheaper than what the Mavericks would have had to pay if they would have signed him through unrestricted free agency, and that's the reason why it's $16 million. Like, there's a reason sign and trades exist, because it's mutually beneficial for both parties.
Okay.
And I think for the opposing team that is getting said player, it's because the original team will sign him for a cheaper deal and just trade him to the other team. I think that's how it works. I think at least that's why sign and trades exist.
I'm going to take your word for it because NBA contracts are so fucking, confusing.
What are you talking about, dude? They're not confusing at all. With the first and second apron and the 6 different mid-level exceptions: taxpayer, non-taxpayer, full taxpayer, your mom taxpayer. I don't know what kind of your mom.
Your mom.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know with all that stuff. But in the end, Klay Thompson leaves. He signs a 3-year contract with the Dallas Mavericks. And you brought a very good point up today, Steven, where Tobias Harris signed with the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
And it was 2 for 52. And you were like, well, at what point does Klay Thompson feel like I'm getting less than Tobias Harris from the Warriors?
Yeah.
Didn't Tobias Harris go 0-4 in a closeout game with the Sixers too?
He averaged in the postseason this year, he averaged 9 points per game on 8.5 attempts per game.
Jesus, man.
He was terrible.
Yeah, he was such a good player at one point. I remember when the 76ers acquired him. Was he originally with the Clippers?
He was with the Clippers. He was also with the Pistons, too.
So he goes back to the Pistons.
Yeah. I think he played for the Clippers, though. Did he?
I remember, yeah, he was originally on the Clippers. It was that season where we thought the Clippers were rebuilding. They traded away a lot of guys, and in the end, they made the playoffs and took the Warriors to 6 games.
Milwaukee, Orlando, Detroit, Clippers, then Philadelphia since 2018.
Gotcha.
And I believe has he played in more seasons than Klay, even though he's only 31, because Klay had those 2 years. Anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Did you see what the Lakers offered him?
Yes.
4 years, $80 million.
Mm-hmm.
And Klay passed. And the sign and trade would have been D'Angelo Russell. And we all know the Warriors really wanted him back.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
No, that would not have worked.
Oh my God. Mr. Fab would have been so pissed.
Let's I'm glad Klay did not choose the Lakers, because I know his dad probably was wanting him to do it, and I know that he probably wanted to go home and still stay in California. But it's smart, just because are you really going to hitch your wagon to an aging LeBron James? And I saw the reports. LeBron called him immediately when free agency went underway. And, cool. And I guess LeBron was willing to make take a mid-level exception. But if you're Klay, you have to think about it in basketball terms. Are the Lakers in a better position to win than the Warriors right now? I would say no.
You're going with a first-year head coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to join that team. I mean,
I would.
Can you imagine what Klay thinks of JJ Redick?
I have no idea. You okay?
Yeah, sorry. Uruguay and USA right now, and the US just had a golden opportunity to level this game. They're currently down 1-0. But anyway, keep on going. Yeah, I wonder what he thinks of JJ Redick. Like, did him and JJ ever clash? Like, I think that must have had something to do with it, right?
No, I mean, I think honestly, it's just out of the teams that were interviewing, or the teams that were interviewing him, the teams that were meeting with him, I think that Mavericks made the most sense basketball wise because I don't know what his role is going to be. Well, we said it all the time. Who's on the team besides Luka and Kyrie? PJ Washington. I think Clay's probably that starting five, unless there's somebody that I'm missing, and that stands out that you can't live without.
Oh, no, he is. He's in that starting five for sure.
Then yeah, I mean, the Mavericks were just in the NBA Finals. You have no idea what's going on with LeBron, if he's going to continue his career or retire. That's the whole reason you would sign there. Orlando, I thought Orlando, he may go to Orlando just because of the money, but in the end, I think Klay Thompson was like, well, am I really ever going to win with Orlando? Clippers, they just signed, they got James Harden, they got Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, I don't think I don't think Klay's a big James Harden guy. So yeah, I think the Mavericks makes the most sense. So yeah, I'm very glad that he avoided going to the Lakers because that would have been hard to swallow. But he'll see the Warriors a lot because they're in the same conference, so that'll be interesting when he comes back to Chase Center. And the Warriors did release a statement. They thanked him for everything that he's done in his 13 years, and they're going to retire his number at some point. So yeah, it'll be a good day once Klay Thompson's career is over and he comes back, and we embrace Klay with. I mean, we'll embrace him when he comes back to Chase the first time when he's in a Mavericks uniform. And I'm sure when he shoots some threes, the crowd will boo, but initially we'll all love him again. But then when his career is over, he'll come home and, we'll really tell him how much we appreciated him. Did you want to add something?
You think he'll be given the Will Clark treatment, where there's going to be an Eli Whiteside type wearing his number for the time being, and they retire that number super late?
No, I don't think anyone's wearing 11 for the time being. As far as the Mike Dunleavy stuff, look, I think that's ridiculous. And we talked about it yesterday a little bit, but from all of the details that were given about the Paul George trade, just the Clippers didn't want to do it. And it sounded like, Mike Dunleavy's not stupid. It sounds like that Jonathan Kuminga was included in the deal. So the Clippers just didn't want to do a deal with the Warriors, which is fine. I totally understand that. The Chicago trade with Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins, I think a lot of people are questioning that because I think Zach LaVine's a good player, but he has been injury prone, the last few years. And he does make a shit ton of money. What is it 138 the next 3 seasons he's going to make?
Correct. Yeah, he's going to be making his cap hit next year is $43 million, and the year after that is $45 million. Then there's a player option for $48 million.
Could you possibly restructure his contract if he got traded?
That's a good question.
I don't know if you can in the NBA. I don't know what the rules are. I know in the NFL you can. So yeah, I would have entertained that deal a little bit more. The Chicago Bulls would have had to kick a first-round pick towards the Warriors' way. But if it gets Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins off the books, I probably would have done that. But yeah, I guess in the end the Warriors did not want to do that deal, and Chris Paul was cut, and we weren't on the air when this happened. But Chris Paul, I guess also part of the deal was that Chris Paul did not want to go to Chicago. He had places he wanted to go, and it sounds like he was talking to the Spurs before he even was released. So he wanted to go to San Antonio. And then once, it would have been a whole thing of him getting bought out by Chicago and then being waived and being a free agent once again and then go signing with the Spurs. He didn't want to wait that long. He just wanted to go play with Popovich and Wembanyama, and now he's going to be in San Antonio, which I think is a really good fit because I don't expect that team to be contenders, but they'll make some moves, and Chris Paul will be that veteran presence on the Spurs.
Should have thought of that. Should have thought of that yesterday. I was asking what team would need Chris Paul right now. The Spurs. They were in desperate need of a point guard, someone who could facilitate with Wemby. I think it's a fantastic fit. $11 million is a little steep, but who am I to talk about their salary? All I know is that if Chris Paul's healthy, that should work real well over there in San Antonio. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, an 11's significantly less than 30. So, yeah, I think it's a solid move. Chris Paul, I think, always wanted to play for Popovich, so that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, but as far as Mike Dunleavy, he's getting a lot of shit today and yesterday and Saturday. And I don't really want to blame him for anything because you said it perfectly, Stephen. Bob Myers made a mess in the kitchen and left. It's kind of like today, the Boston Celtics. They have the two highest paid players in NBA history on their team right now. They paid Jason Tatum. What was it? Did you see the number, Stephen? 5 years for I think $300 million.
It was over $300 million. Yeah.
So he gets the highest paid contract in NBA history. And prior to that, Jaylen Brown had the highest paid contract in NBA history. And they just won the championship. Everything's good. It's the all-time high for the Celtics. And boom, they sell the team. Ownership group of the Celtics is moving on. Go ahead and give Jason Tatum that contract. It's somebody else's problem. This team will go downhill. And that's kind of how I think things are with the Warriors, where Bob Myers, a lot of situation going on with Joe Lacob, got tired of that whole thing. But yeah, the Warriors didn't draft well. Bob did not draft well. Love Bob to death, but did not draft well. Did not plan well for the future. They tried to, Kuminga, Moses Moody, James Wiseman, so many different things, and they just didn't really. Do I think Klay Thompson would have stayed if Bob Myers was still GM? Maybe. Maybe there's more trust in Bob than there is in Mike Dunleavy, but there'd still be the same salary cap problems. So to blame this all on Mike Dunleavy is stupid, in my opinion. And hey, love Mr. Fab, but I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Go ahead.
If we believe in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody that much to the point where we're complaining over the entire season, then why are we worried now? Like, why is it, oh my God, we don't have any pieces. We're not going to contend. Well, you're getting your wish. Klay Thompson is gone. Chris Paul is gone. That opens the door here for the younger players. Like,
you know why, Stephen?
Why?
Because this Warriors fan base has been spoiled with stars, and they want stars.
Yep. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if it's exactly like it, but what Mike Dunleavy's entering is the same thing that Bobby Evans left Farhan. Very similar actually, because Bobby Evans did make a couple of really nice picks. Elliot Ramos and Marco Luciano were his guys. Kind of like, I guess, Jonathan Kuminga and Moses, although you can't compare them because Marco Luciano hasn't been called up. But anyway, whatever. Comparing apples to oranges, I guess. But where they're similar is they were left with bad contracts that they have to deal with, and left to deal with Klay Thompson's max, left to deal with Chris Paul getting a guarantee of $30 million per year. For people who think that the Warriors would have traded Chris Paul, or at least been able to include him in a deal, what team in their right mind would be willing to trade someone for Chris Paul with $30 million? And if you would have kept him in this season and you could have kept him before the trade deadline, well, wouldn't his value only diminish by the time he's turning in his age 40? I wasn't as confused by the Chris Paul thing as everybody, but Dunleavy, I think, should at least, I'm not going to say get the leash that Farhan got, because Farhan is getting nearly a decade of patience from the Giants organization to actually get them on a winning track.
How long has it been?
It's been since 2018, and by the time his contract's up, it's going to be 3 more years, so nearly a decade.
All right.
I just think you need to give Mike Dunleavy a longer leash, and right now you got 2 guys in Trace Jackson-Davis and Brandon Pajemski who look like they're great draft picks as of now. Has his off seasons been, as far as free agency, been great? No, but I think you got to give him a little more time, because Myers did not leave him with something easy. He didn't set it up well. It's like if I sold you the couch, and the couch came in 2 separate parts, and I just separated it. I made it so that I could give you the couch, but I didn't build it. I left it so that you had to build it. That'd be like what Bob did with Mike.
Yeah, That would be a dick move.
Right?
Speaking of which, you know where I heard all of the news breaking on Saturday?
Hmm.
I was at IKEA trying to get a dresser
Hmm.
because at my old place they had a built-in thing where I could put all my clothes. Got to buy a new dresser. So if you were at the Emeryville IKEA on Saturday, you saw me pacing around IKEA while everybody was buying furniture. I was looking at my phone and being like, shit, we're not getting Paul George? Damn it. And also, how do I buy just a simple dresser here? And the people are like, well, you got to, buy it in a box and, take it home with you. You got to build it yourself. And I'm like, Jesus. And then I pick up the box like, this is heavy as shit. I can't take this home. There's 2 boxes? No. So, Steven and everybody else, the opiners, I left with cups. Buy myself a whole set of cups.
Oh, well done,
baby.
Well done.
Just need to get a dresser. And probably have to get that delivered through IKEA.
Do you have a cutting board?
I have a cutting board, yes.
And you have more than just like a butcher knife?
I think I only have a butter knife at the moment.
Just a butter knife?
That's it.
Just one?
That's how you know I'm not a serial killer, Steven. I don't have a whole set of knives.
You need a few?
Why? You want to give me some knives?
Do you need utensils? Because we got a lot.
Sure. See, this is why I don't buy anything, because then I just guilt trip friends into giving me shit.
If you need spoons, we also got plenty of spoons. So,
yeah, I got 2 spoons. I could use 3.
Okay, I'll just give you a spoon. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll just give you a spoon.
Cool. Spoon man. So yeah, it was hilarious. I was walking around IKEA and just be like, oh shit, we're not gonna Paul George. Oh, Clay's leaving too? Jesus, this is a terrible day at IKEA.
It's such an empty feeling during free agency, man. You're just like waiting for something to happen, for something to come around.
I know.
It's waiting all morning for the Klay news to happen on the air, and it didn't happen until 11:40.
I know. And then they photoshopped him in the Mavericks uniform too. I always wonder when insiders tweet out their stuff, when do they know? Because I noticed it during NFL free agency. If Adam Schefter or Rappaport or Pelissero have the inside scoop of what's going on, they'll get their digital team ready to go and have that person or that player with a graphic ready, or they have them photoshopped in the new jersey ready to go.
Oh yeah.
If it's a surprise to them, then it's just a bare bones tweet. But if they've known for a while that something's going down, they have it ready. They have it in the drafts ready to go of a Photoshop and everything.
Well, when you know it's down to 5 teams, though, he probably had one for all the Clippers, the Lakers, Mavs, Sixers. I mean, how easy is it? I have just randomly gotten Ashlock for my fantasy football team. I've randomly gotten Ashlock to Photoshop a photo with Freddie Kitchens and a chef's hat and him holding a hot dog. And I asked him for a very specific thing, and he somehow got it to me in like 5 minutes. So I think any one of these people at ESPN can Photoshop a picture of a jersey onto Klay and make it work.
Yeah, no, that's probably. And by the way, here, Otis Bird in the chat here says apparently Klay. If I could pull it up here, is it gonna? No, I missed it. Apparently Klay is going to wear 1 or 10 for the Mavs. We know that already. Is somebody else wearing 13?
You mean 11?
11, my bad. Yeah, I'm thinking of Paul George.
I don't think so.
What does Kyrie wear?
Oh,
does he wear 11?
Kyrie wears 11.
Okay, that makes sense.
Kyrie wears 11. Luka wears 77, obviously. Right. And PJ Washington wears 25. Although he's not on the team anymore. Derek Jones Jr. Derek Jones Jr. is gone. This is
how little I pay attention to basketball jerseys. Luka wears 77.
Yeah, dude.
God, he's Lyle Alzada.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Big Thayer Munford guy.
There you go. Rated Reflections. But yeah, dude, I don't think it's fair to judge Mike Dunleavy for this because we were saying a year ago when he got the job, he's going to have to deal with some bullshit. And we were saying a year ago, is he the guy that's going to have to make a decision on Draymond?
Yeah.
So let's give it some time. Let's see what happens. And I'm also not expecting much. I think this is going to, worst case scenario, I think we go into the season with Klay, Draymond, Kuminga, Pajemski, Moody, Trace Jackson Davis, and all the young guys. All the hope and potential that all the Warriors fans have craved for. But now they're angry because it's just this. It's not a big name guy. It's not Paul George. It's not, whoever else was out there. Brandon Ingram, I guess, is still out there. Although I guess the Kings are really hot on him. So we'll see if that trade comes to fruition. And then this name has been thrown out there. Dalton Johnson actually brought this up with us a week ago. Lauri Markkanen. Or actually, I'm butchering his last name. How do you say his last name?
Markkanen. You were close.
Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen. He just got to the Utah Jazz. And where was he before that? The Cavs?
He was with the Bulls. I know that for a long time. But did he go to the Cavs for a little bit?
I believe so. I could be wrong about that.
Well, he thrived when he was with the Jazz. I know that.
Yes. And I remember someone bringing him up with the Bulls. I guess one of my little brothers told me about him.
He was with Cleveland. Yes, he was with Cleveland.
Okay, that's a name that's being thrown out there. I guess Woj is saying that the Warriors are in on Lauri Markkanen, or Lauri Markkanen. My question is, he's a young player. How the hell do they? I mean, are you giving up Kuminga in that situation? Maybe not. Are you giving up Wiggins? I don't know. I just don't know what's feasible in a trade right now. If they get him, that's a big move. I'd be down with that. But who they pick up today? DeAnthony Milton, or what's his name?
Melton.
All right. Tom says it's a good, solid pickup. A bench guy. Cool. But I think fans, like I said yesterday, fans just have to prepare for the fact that we're not going to come away with something huge this offseason. And it may be kind of characterized as the Warriors trying to win with Steph. But in reality, it may be them kind of doing a semi-rebuild.
The only way you're going to get Markkanen is if you promise that you're going to give him a contract extension with other teams don't. He becomes an unrestricted free agent after this season. Guys like that who are, if they get traded, like they're only going to agree to it if the other team's willing to give them an extension and say their previous team's not. That's the only way it'll happen.
Yeah.
So I think much like the Paul George thing, that's a long shot. And yeah, Melton is just a nice defensive player. He'll be scrappy, and it'll be it'll be a pretty nice backcourt as far as defensive guys go, with Melton and GP2 on the court at the same time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. But now that things are final, I kind of want to, we won't go too long today. We may bring up some other stuff towards the end here, but I do want to just talk about Klay and the impact that he's had on all of us. And I know that you brought up, you'll remember how things ended with Klay Thompson, and it's hard to forget that. But I'll remember all the good times. I'm surprised he didn't put anything out on social media thanking the fans or whatnot. But maybe that's not Klay's style, or maybe he's just still kind of upset right now. And maybe time will heal and he'll say the right things. But I will always remember Klay Thompson for being a fantastic three-point shooter and just having the personality that I wish all athletes had, of just not really thinking too highly of themselves, kind of more laid back, not taking themselves too seriously, and just going with the flow of things. And yeah, I brought up all the goofy stuff, the scaffolding interview. I forgot about it, but when he was interviewed by Roz Goldon-Woode, and she says, "How much do you feed off the D?" and he just laughs. I just miss how, like the childlike nature of him. We all knew about his bulldog Rocco, and I mean, just classic moments. The 37 points in a quarter. The Game 6 Clays will stand out to me. I'll never forget watching that game against OKC, and the Warriors were down 3-1, and then they came back, and got to a game 7 and that game 6. And Klay was just incredible that night. And then the game 6 against the Rockets that I went to when the Rockets were up big and we thought their season was over. And then he was amazing in that game. The game 6 with him and Steph when KD was hurt against the Rockets. There's so many good memories of Klay Thompson and him dressing up in the Jackie Moon outfit, the Flint Tropics, Will Ferrell coming out, him referring to him only as Jackie Moon because he really loves that movie and loves the character. I just love Klay, man. Like, it's like I feel bad thinking like it's time to move on. And God, he didn't play well in the last 2 playoff series or the playing game. But like when you just think about those times, man, like I was making rejoins today of Klay from back in the day, and I honestly got a little emotional, kind of teared up a little bit, just thinking about the times where I was in my life, just what Klay meant to us, meant to the Bay Area. Some caller called in today and kind of epitomized that Klay, kind of like Tim Lincecum, epitomized the Bay Area personality. I think that's why we all kind of gravitated towards him, and just how chill he was.
Yeah, laid back stoner vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we laugh, but like that we all loved him because he was that guy. And yeah, man, I'm gonna miss the hell out of him because it really hasn't sunk in yet. They have the Photoshop of him in the Mavs uniform, but when Warriors season rolls around, I'll be thinking like, all right, here we go, Steph, Draymond, Klay, and Klay won't be there, and that'll be tough. But yeah, man. What's one of your favorite Klay memories when you think about him?
Well, more recently, it's just it's how relatable he always was. And yeah, I mean, this team I've grown up with in my late teens and in my 20s. So, that was a time when Klay just felt like someone that could be a friend. I mean, now you kind of mentioned all of them. I mean, celebrating the 2022 championship and bowling someone over. Just sometimes his awkward yet hilarious dance moves on the court. His movie quote. He was a big movie guy, and with that match against Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, literally right from the jump, he's like, 5 iron, huh? You're fired. Like, first hole, not even through the first green. Little things like that. I mean, all the memories that everyone has. I mean, there's nothing, there's nothing that hasn't already been said with everyone, and I'm glad some of them resurfaced. I totally forgot after he didn't make the All 75 team that he wore the number 77. He'll also be responsible for one of the funniest memes of all time, where they won the finals and he scored like a grand total of 9 points, and he said, when you do nothing in the group project, but you still get an A. I don't know, just little things like that. His random friendship with Zaza. I'll always remember that one. It's like those two were like best buds back in the day. So all of that. Yeah. Ernie too. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Remember when Klay tripped at the parade? Yeah. When he tripped and fell over and bowled someone over in the process.
I even love the meme of or the GIF, whatever you want to call it, of him. It's all, you see the whole Warriors bench, and then out of nowhere you see Klay's head just come out of nowhere and just be like, "Hey, I'm here too."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just little things like movie quotes were great with him. He seemed like a dude. Like you and I quote movies all the time. So I always appreciated when big stars just quote movies. It just seemed like a just relatable guy. Like I'll always remember this. This was hilarious to me. Steph and Klay were doing a press conference together, I guess during the playoffs, because that's when they have guys paired up. And there was some storyline, and Steph goes, "Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. That's much ado about nothing." And then Klay out of nowhere goes, "Good movie." And then Steph goes, "Great movie." And I'm like, was it really? I remember watching that in high school, and I was like, this movie's not that good.
Yeah. It's a random one.
But I just love that they just were, just kind of weird like that. Like Klay was weird, and I appreciated it. I watched some of his post game interviews today, just looking up material for the show. There was a time where he was like, "Yeah, man, strength in numbers. Yeah, look at this, man, strength in numbers of the T-shirt." Then Lisa Salters goes, That's upside down. Oh yeah, whatever. You get it though. Like he was just goofy, and I just loved like. Remember when Bob Myers was at the parade, and he was telling the story about how he went to Clay's house, and Clay needed to be more focused, and he was telling him how Clay could get better as a player, and then Clay's like, "Yeah, Bob, you're right. You're right. So when's our next game?" And Bob's like, "Tonight." He's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be there." Bob's like, I sure as shit hope you are. Yeah, man. I'm gonna miss the hell out of him. As much as I think that it was time to move on, it doesn't hurt, and at the same time, it hurts that he won't be around.
For sure, all of it.
Yeah,
but you know what? He's going to get a statue built outside Chase Center. He had a career with an organization that a lot of people wish they would have. I'd say 98% of NBA players wish they would have with their own team. Eventually, it had to come to this, but now he's moving on. Damn.
Yep. Yeah. Nah, we'll miss him. Yeah. Thanks, Clay, for everything, man. Here's to you, and nothing but success in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, all right, Steven. Well, we can break this up for a little bit. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh yeah, yeah. We can celebrate that until 2035.
I thought it was coming up to an end soon, but yeah, 2035. Jesus.
Yep.
So he gets paid $1.193 million today.
Yep.
And Brock Purdy gets paid $900,000 for the season.
Yeah, well, Purdy's going to get paid $50 million next year, so he'll be fine.
I know, but yeah, man, good on Bobby Bonilla. Like I think John Curley and I were talking about this today. So John Curley reached out to him years ago and called him, and Bobby Bonilla just picks up the phone. And if anyone's seen the old clip of Bobby Bonilla being like kind of a dick in the clubhouse when the guy was like asking him questions, and he was like, "Oh, come on, man! Like at the homeboys just say back in the day, we just chilling. You can stick that mic up your ass." And then so Curly calls him, and the guy's like, and Bobby Bonilla goes, "Hello?" And Curly's like, "Hey, is this Bobby Bonilla? Keep talking." And Curly says, "Hey, trying to get you on." And he goes, "Yeah, well, I'll see if Bobby is willing to come on. I'll get back to you." And then Curly tells me, he's like, "Pretty sure it was him." He just didn't want to talk. And I think the vibe is that he doesn't like being made fun of every day, July 1st, for getting his money. But in reality, the man's a genius. He cheated the system better than anybody has. He has been getting paid constantly for the last 24 years, since 2000, well past his playing career, to make $1 million every year because the Mets, that's just what they decided to do. That's how they, the same thing will happen with the Dodgers with Shohei. I think it's one of the more fascinating contracts in sports history. It should be celebrated, honestly.
Yeah, well, got to thank Bernie Madoff for that too. That's why they were able to pay him what they were paying him.
Oh, sorry, 2011, not 2000. Okay, my bad.
Deferred payments, baby.
Yep, deferred payments. So yeah, happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Otis Bird. Remember when fake Bub Rub called in the morning roast? We were so excited for that, man.
Who?
Bub Rub.
Who the hell's that?
The guy with the Raiders jersey at the car thing, and he was a really popular video back in the day where he said cars go woo woo. You remember that guy?
No, I don't.
From like Oakland. Oh, do we have to play Bub Rub right now? Do I got to play the Bub Rub video?
We got time for a little Bub Rub.
All right, we need Bub Rub.
By the way, the last podcast I said there's not a lot to talk about Raiders wise. Then I saw Jeremy Fowler go on ESPN and talk about the Raiders QB controversy. I guess we'll talk about this next podcast. Is there a controversy? I guess QB competition? I don't think so, but we could talk about that another time.
Well, it's just, there's nothing to talk about. So you're going to go Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, they got Gardner Minshew for a reason, but we could talk about that another time.
So Bub Rub was talking about the whistle tips. That's right, the whistle tips on the cars.
Okay.
And yeah, this was the popular. You'll recognize it. This was the popular video from Cron 4 back in the day.
Cron 4 News.
It's a piece of metal welded inside the exhaust pipes that makes the car audible for almost a mile. Tell me about the whistles.
The whistles go woo.
Anybody that has it in their neighborhood's going to be totally driven crazy.
It sounds like what?
When you want to woo woo, it's that woo woo. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the flows. They didn't trip off the flow masters.
That decoration, man. Just for decoration.
That's it.
And that's all, man. We do it for decoration.
You have it on your car?
Yeah, I got it on my car.
It was being installed on their car. Roxanne Brunn says the high-pitched tone, like the squeal of a BART train that doesn't stop, is keeping her awake at night. Police have told her it is legal.
They think it's a fad. It's going to go away. It's not going away.
And it's driving you nuts.
It's driving me nuts. I work at home. I can't concentrate when it goes on for hours.
Some neighbors are saying way too loud.
That's only in the morning. He's supposed to be up cooking breakfast or somebody, and so that's like an alarm clock. Woo woo!
Bub Rub and Little.
Oh, dude, hold on. The guy says Bub Rub.
Yeah.
Dude, that whole video is so Oakland.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The whistles go woo.
Because there's definitely things around here that keep me up in the morning where I'm like, Jesus.
That was on Tosh.0.
Was it really?
Yeah, Tosh did a whole segment on it back when his Comedy Central show was popping.
So someone came on pretending to be Bub Rub?
Yes, someone came on pretending to be Bub Rub. It wasn't them. Did I miss the best part? Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. I got the video still open.
So it was a Bub Rub flub?
It was a Bub Rub flub. Correct. We all got Bub Rubbed.
Yes, we're proud to show it off. Some Oakland residents will complain about the noisemakers Tuesday night at the city council meeting. Until the law changes, Marcelo Cabrera says he will keep installing them. Would you want it in your neighborhood?
No, I won't. But that's what I want. You know, my business is sell the pipes, so I have to sell whatever they want. And whatever people want, I'll sell it.
An AC Transit bus driver told us the noise is so loud you can't even hear the siren from an approaching ambulance. So far, they've caused no known accidents.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, that shit's still going on in Oakland. And, the guys that are on the motorcycles that are running through traffic, the sideshows, it's part of the charm.
Yep. Oh, boy.
Good old Bub Rub. I got a quick pop culture catch-up if you're down for it, Steven.
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right. Watch the movie Hitman on Netflix.
Hey.
You watched it too?
So did we.
What'd you think?
Oh, it was good. Thought the ending was kind of stale, but overall I thought it was really good.
Kind of a weird movie. Equal parts funny. Richard Linklater, who's made a lot of movies, Austin guy, went to UT. And I guess, who's the actor that's in the movie? The main guy, he's in a bunch of flicks these days.
Glenn Powell. He's the
Powell.
He's the it guy now, man.
He is the it guy. He's from Austin, Texas as well. Went to Texas. And naturally, he's going to link up with Richard Linklater. So the movie's about a fake hitman and all of the, all the different characters he's played. And then it's based on a true story, but definitely they take a lot of liberties because the ending is not real whatsoever. And I wonder what they're trying to go for with the ending. I won't spoil it, but it's a very weird ending. It's anti-Barry, I would say. Where if anybody watched the ending of Barry, he feels very, it's supposed to make you not like the character for being a hitman and killing people. Hitman is actually kind of justifying killing people, I would say, in a way. Maybe not. It's more of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I would have actually liked it as a series a little bit better because the characters he plays in order to entrap the people that want the hitman, I found very interesting. He basically plays, who was the guy's name? Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Yeah.
He basically dresses up as him. I think he dresses up as Tilda Swinton at some point. because he's wearing like the red. He's got the British accent, the glasses, and the red hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then he plays this redneck that pretty much resembles Matthew McConaughey. So I think it worked better as a series where each week he has to impersonate somebody, and you see him play that character for the majority of the show. But it's in quick little snippets, and overall, it's a good movie.
I enjoyed it. I'm impressed by Glenn Powell, man. I thought he was just like some good-looking leading guy, but he's got some range. He's got some range, and that was I thought it was a fun movie. It was a fun movie. Jesse and I had fun with it. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of the actress in that movie?
Oh, I don't know her name,
but my God, she is beautiful.
I did not notice.
Sure you didn't. All right, Steven. On that note, I think we're good for the week, guys. Klay signed. If anything happens with the Warriors, we'll see what happens. But I think this is going to take the place of our Wednesday show. So we are going to be good for the week. We'll be back on Sunday to talk about this Raiders QB controversy, I guess. All right. Until then, thanks to all the people in the chat as usual. The Ernies, AJ Cruz. Who was in today? I saw Skills earlier. Saw Tacky talking his shit. Saw Jesse. I saw a little bit. There was another guy that doesn't come on quite that often, but Otis Bird. But that wasn't him. There was somebody that popped up earlier that I want to get their name in here real quick if I can find him. Edison Xiao. This guy. Or Zhao. All right.
Or
anyway, Zoo. Either way.
Or Joe.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see you on Sunday. Have a very happy 4th of July. We won't be doing a show because who cares about the Nathan hot dog eating contest anymore without Joey Chestnut? But we'll be back on Sunday. Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man.